when I first wrote the book, I was talking to my wife, and we were talking about the market for the book before I ever produced it, so that it would have a viable market. You have to have those things in consideration if you're thinking about distribution. So these are the kinds of unfortunate things we have to think of as creators of product. So the question stands is, how much consideration should visual artists place on their audiences when creating their work? I'm going to start with Bill, because Bill has a completely different perspective than all you guys, not necessarily having been in the industry, but on the outside.
Well,
and also his experiences.
as a moviegoer, let's put it that way. I'm a professional moviegoer. Been doing it all my life. I don't know. I was thinking while we're talking here is that you have a dichotomy. You have to come up with a work of art that's going to satisfy you and fulfill you, but at the same time, if you want to do your second piece of art, you've got to make it available to everybody else, right. So with that, and thinking about Tyler Perry, if we're finding fault with Tyler Perry, well, he's really appealing to a multicultural audience in what his human stories were, just like Bill Cosby was. He wasn't a black family, he was a doctor of a black family, and he had a story that every American household could understand. It didn't maybe represent the segment of the population fully, but there was part of it that did. So going back to your question, I think it's the honesty of the artist understanding where the artist wants to go. And I don't think there's anything wrong with creating a piece that everybody wants to see. And that everybody wants to see, right. Because you can do your piece and put it in the closet. Right. If you want to keep a piece true to yourself.
And he's also married to an artist, guys. So that's another good point. Is that how you
well, I understand. I understand how. I don't understand how our mind works, but I understand how her work works. And we've been saving corks for like 15 years, and she came to me this morning and said, "I know what I'm going to do with the corks. She's going to make a billboard in our new kitchen, and we'll use the corks for a billboard."
She's very good.
But we've been saving corks for like 15 years. I'm not. Everybody we know has been saving them for us.
It's one big billboard. Well, as having been in the festival business for 11 years, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of really bad movies. We get about 400 entries every year, and we curate by committee, which is our own story. So I only really, at this point, watch the contentious films. And I would say the answer to your question is both and. There's not the best thing that an artist can do for his or her piece, particularly a film, is find a brilliant third-party editor. That the story is still good, it's still a valuable story, and sometimes even more valuable if it's 10 minutes less. That there is an interested, committed third party who will help someone. I think of a good editor as sort of like a midwife. That they're not the person who's done any of the creative work, but made the process of bringing birth to this creation smoother, easier, right. For both the creation and for the mom or right. the creator. And I've seen that's where the films that have a great story but miss the mark is because there's not someone who's doing that work. Now, there are some just bad stories and bad filmmakers. A DVD, this is 10 cents now, and there are waste of those. But at the same time, there's some, like I can't tell you the number of stories, the number of films, the stories that we go, oh, man, would this be fabulous for us to show? Would this be a bridge building piece? Would this take us to the next level in terms of conversation in our community? But it's just not good enough. And that's painful to me. And I'm no longer in the part of the process where I communicate that to the filmmaker, but it's not an easy communication to have, right? Because there's a kernel of truth that's being told, but it's just not told in a way that makes it watchable. Yeah, palatable.
I think so often the person it's so close to them, and for an independent film, it takes so long to get everything right. together, right. And so if you can have that outside person who you respect and has the fresh eyes to be able to look at something differently, and you are willing to accept kind of relinquishing your vision a little bit too,
Right.
you know, that can help to embellish somebody's work.
But should the creator necessarily seek outside influence while creating? That's something totally different.
Well, you know, film is such a collaborative art anyway, that there's so many people that are bringing their gifts to it. So I think if you've brought a really good team together, then that synergy will really help, rather than just feel it's all your responsibility.
So we're speaking on film, but let's go to any other medium. You know, so we're saying visual art. So we're saying this guy that created this piece here, this piece here. You know, I mean, they have a conversation with someone. What that person says, should that influence their work to a point of where they change it? You know, because you never know how the end piece would have affected everyone else had they stuck to their vision. You know.
Mm-hmm. I think you can be open, you can hear, and then make your own decision.
Mm.
Yeah. The visual art piece, that's something that I am not that familiar with. It's more the film and the documentary work
Sure.
that I am, which is so collaborative.
Sure.
And this is so individual,
Yes.
you know.
Well, both and, if you don't mind, my mother-in-law paints, so I walk around now with sort of looking at different things, and that's been her that's been her retirement grandma life is painting. She's really quite wonderful. But she does look at it, I mean, it's her work, but people's comments, and she'll try something new and show it to us on a Friday night, and we either go yay, or, you know, she reads, you know, it's not like she doesn't know us by now, but, you know, there's input that she gets. And like almost any artist, any of these artists did not, I'm sure had a number of pieces that he or she wanted to select, and the gallery curator
That's right.
made active decisions in what's here
Right.
today. So there is some editing that happens. There's some collaboration that has to happen, because we don't live in a vacuum. You know, except if someone paints a picture, puts it up on a web and says, buy this,
Right.
does it happen without input?
Right.
It's actually human nature to have validation, and I think if you're in the act of creating, you're looking for validation or confirmation in where you're going, or what you're saying, or what you're writing, or in anything like that. That's just human nature. Validate. We go out, we live our day looking for validation in things we do, or teach, or say, or preach, you know?
Dr. Mekerta?
Well, what I was thinking is, I don't think that art is separate from the political. In fact, many of the pieces that are here, there is a political statement. I believe that when the artist creates, the artist has to have, and often has, a visceral relationship to the work that is being created. And the artist may or may not have a precise idea of what particular sentiment or emotion or political statement they want to make